Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to your case presentation today. 25 minutes is what we're going to try to keep it to. You're going to take on a role, obviously. You're going to assign us a role as judges of who we are. After the presentation, we'll have a Q&A from us, and then we'll end it with some feedback at the end. Introducing one more thing. Please don't communicate what university you're with. Same goes for the judges, just in case we have rival basketball teams. Introduce myself. My name is Drew Crutt. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for a manufacturing company here in LA, food manufacturing. Prior to that, I helped build out the supply chain for a small company called Amazon, and I launched their business unit called Amazon Fresh, which was their food delivery business in San Francisco and New York City. I'm very, very happy to be here and excited for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, welcome.
Hello.
I'm Chiki Bianco. I'm a TV executive, and I work in what's called standards and practices in the television industry, and that's primarily reviewing video content for government compliance regulations and company policies, and I handle TV series, anything that goes on the air on a broadcast station. So that's what I do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Richard Tang. I'm here, assistant professor for marketing analytics here at IMU. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Valerie Felix, and I am a retired educator.
Oh, nice to meet you. Thank you.
You have the floor.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. So, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you all had a good lunch, and let's just get started with our presentation. So, today we are here to present PG&E Consumer Connect. Well, let's start with we are the Green Getters Consulting. I am Bhakti. This is my colleague Ronald, and that's my colleague Satvina. So, we are here today to represent. And let me start by saying that, okay, imagine that there is a blackout, okay, and none of the presentations work. We won't be able to do this competition today. And that's what the future would look like if we don't conserve energy. So today we are here to kind of make everybody understand how important energy conservation is in the terms by implementing affordable energy to its consumers. So let's get started. And a very welcome and good afternoon to the Board of Directors of PG&E. We really appreciate the efforts that you take to lit our homes every day. So for people who don't know about PG&E, let me tell you that it's Pacific Gas and Electricity. It's a utility company which has been there providing services to the Northern California region for over 100 years. They're doing a great job, and we are here to kind of connect with them better. So let's start with understanding the mission statement, your mission statement. So it goes like it provides safe and affordable energy to all its consumers. And you guys have been doing a fantastic job in that region. And we really appreciate all the efforts that you take for all the 100 years that you have taken in order to provide clean energy to its consumers. But in the recent times, we have noticed that you guys have some challenges and backslashes coming from the consumer in the areas of the energy not being affordable. So today we are here to kind of bridge that gap between PG&E and its consumer. As your CEO said that they want to kind of rebuild the trust that they're losing in the customers. So we are here to provide that platform to you to kind of connect back with your consumers. So we are here with Consumer Connect. Yeah. Let's go.
So just a real quick overview of the table of contents that we're going to go through. We'll start off, I'll issue the problem statement. We'll go through the legal, ethical, and financial aspects. We did some market research, so we'll let you guys know what your consumers think of you guys, as well as introducing our product, and then we'll finish off with the conclusion on how we could integrate this application. So the issue right now is the consumers lack a trust and affordability aspect when it comes to the 16 million customers you guys serve. In addition to that, we have aligned our project, our proposal to the SG 7 of affordable, reliable, sustainable energy for all. Our approach when we were proposing this idea is to look at it from the customer backwards. So one quote that really resonated with us as we were going through it is one of your guys' customers mentioned how last month her bill was $100 and something, the next month it doubled, she didn't receive a bill at the same time, and so she just thought it was nuts how a company could operate this way. So when we came to creating this application, we really had this in mind, and these are some of the highlights of it. So unfortunately, you guys have been on the wrong end of the legal system over the last couple decades, but I'll highlight the last 6 or 7 years. So starting back in 2016, you guys were convicted of manslaughter in the San Bruno gas pipeline explosion, resulting in $1.6 billion. About every 2 years, you guys have had settlements in the millions, if not $100 millions of dollars, having great financial implications, requiring you guys in 2018 to file for bankruptcy. The California Commission of Energy had to step in and reorganize PG&E, which is probably a lot of reasons you guys have jobs at PG&E today. They got a new executive team, a new CEO came into place, and that you guys even had a whole distribution to dividends to shareholders as well. It's not all bad, though. The new executive team did really good. You guys were able to navigate through those times, and in 2023, you guys had record profits of $2.24 billion. So it's all good, and you guys actually got approved by the California Commission of Utilities to do a rate increase of 18%, on average about $37 for the customer. However, the customers, they don't understand it from a business perspective. They see it more from an ethical lens, and they don't understand how usage impacts their bill, how they have low, medium, high, how energy is provided between supply and demand and baseline. So this goes back to the lack of understanding of the duck curve. So during peak times, PG&E, you guys are able to charge 74 cents per kilowatt hours. So that's between times of 4 and 6 in the afternoon and 5 and 7 in the morning. Those are the peak times where it costs the most for you guys to purchase energy. And then during the non-peak times, it's 34 cents per kilowatt hours. So the application that we are proposing today will have an AI component where it could help manage these times, and we'll get into it a little further of the nuts and bolts of it, but this will actually provide revenue to you guys as well, because this application will be a subscription model base where it's about $2 for the customer per month. And if we get 50% onboarding, that would be about $15 million in revenue that PG&E could see monthly. So I know I mentioned AI, and I bet a lot of your ears perked up because there's a lot of ethical issues that comes into play when anytime you talk about big data or AI. So some of the issues we definitely have to tackle is privacy concerns. This is going to have a feature which we'll get into a little further on, but it's pretty much a manual setting that allows and disallows this application to work in the household. Also, it's a bias in decision making. This comes around the transparency issue that the consumer faces when it's dealing with PG&E. So it's very important to have transparency and accountability in our application, so the end user can see exactly on demand when they're being billed, how much, what applications in their house is taking up energy consumption and so forth. And then job displacement. Whenever you talk about advancement of technology, everyone is worried about losing jobs. But we look at it on the bright side, where the money you'll save on these jobs, you could reinvest into other areas such as infrastructure, maintaining the grid. When it goes back to peak pricing, one of the issues that you guys are faced with is when we're on the brink of blackouts, you have to purchase energy out of state, normally from coal plants, so it goes against the mission statement of clean and reliable energy. So when this happens, the energy is extremely expensive, which obviously the consumer is left to pay for. So if you could reinvest that money into infrastructure, into burying electrical lines, into tree management, and so forth, you could be able to take a whole approach to it. So since we took the customer point of view, the value proposition was very important to us. So the 4 things that we want to hit mostly on is transparency. For you guys to build trust back with the consumer, transparency is very important. And personalization, this allows the consumer to either turn off the AI component of the application. It also allows them to make their set parameters on how they want to use their energy, and so forth. The ecosystem is another thing we talked a lot about that's really important. With the increase and rise of smart products, such as thermostats and water heaters, solar panels, electric vehicles, bidirectional charging, it's very important to be able to incorporate all of those into one ecosystem that is controlled by one AI control management system that's able to increase and decrease consumption load when needed, and also in return save the consumer money at the end. Because the problem is since there's a lack of transparency, a lot of the consumers don't understand, well, when I run my dryer at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm paying double the amount because a dryer costs a lot of energy to use. So if we're able to educate the consumer, then maybe we could, in return, change human behavior to help everyone out to creating this ecosystem in this community that's sustainable. So we did extensive market research when it came to consumers. I want to highlight a couple of them. So the 2 big red marks you see up here, the 46% consumers' main goal that they want when it comes to utilities, affordability. They want to save money. That's the #1 thing to them. And we are very aware that you guys have incentives and rebate programs out there that work and that are able to save the consumer money. However, since the perception of the consumer is they don't trust some of the incentives and rebates, that 66% of them believe that it doesn't even work. So even with these great rebates out there, they don't even sign up, they don't participate. With the lack of participation, the program doesn't really work to full effect. And it kind of becomes a full circle of just kind of the consumer they just are lacking that trustworthiness from you guys right now. And so we're really trying to bridge that gap, and we're really trying to bring the consumer and you guys together so you guys could build a better future with your consumers at the end of the day.
So as one of the keynote speakers from yesterday rightly pointed out, that if we don't start conserving energy now and step towards affordable energy for all, we're closer to doomsday than ever before. And we live in an era where sustainability and affordability is not just a preference, it's a necessity, right? So we, as a part of Green Getters Consultancy, are very proud to unveil to you Consumer Connect. It's a groundbreaking app for PG&E customers who want to make energy changes that are not only friendly on their pockets, but are also friendly for the environment and for the future. So Consumer Connect is more than just an app. It's a movement towards a sustainable future. Okay, so the app has a set of target customers, and that's what we'll be discussing here. So the primary target customers for the app are probably homeowners and renters, and they fall under the middle and lower income, and they're aged between 19 and 40, and with some college education, and they at least have 1 or up to 3 smart devices with them, and they're also very price conscious and environment conscious. So we took it a step forward, and we asked them if they would be willing to spend like $2 per month on an app that would help them save $50 a month. And about 75% of them voted yes, and that they would be more than willing to do that. And that is what pushed us to make the changes and make an app which would build the bridge between PG&E and the consumers and build the trust and promote sustainability and affordability. Okay, so talking about the features of the app, our app provides a lot of other features, but I am just gonna go ahead and talk about the features that are different from the apps that are already existing. So the first thing that we provide is the real-time energy monitoring, and probably there are apps out there in the market that provide energy monitoring, but none of them provide real-time energy monitoring. So you can, at the click of your phone, you can go ahead and monitor the energy real time, your everyday usage. That way you know which appliance is consuming more energy than the other. And we also provide personalized energy saving tips. So when we know that this appliance is using more energy, we send you a notification saying, all right, if it's not in use, just put it off. And we also provide customizable dashboards wherein you can customize it according to users' own needs. And you can select whether you want to monitor you want the monitoring base as the forefront or the personalized tips out there. And we also provide educational resources that not only help educate them on terms of sustainability, but also makes them believe that there's a better future if you conserve energy. And we also provide an e-assistant, which is a virtual energy efficiency coach, which is always there at the back of you telling you, do this, do that, and helping you to learn more about conserving energy. And we are the only app that is about to provide carbon footprint monitoring for the energy that you're consuming at your home, because every small step is a big investment in the future. And rewards, we provide rewards for energy conservation in terms of incentives, in terms of rewards and awards. And we are also planning to partner with local businesses and provide rewards based on that. And we will also be forecasting the bill and also the history, so that way we're planning to go paperless. Okay. So out of all the apps out there that could be a potential competitor, Energy Hub is the one that caught our attention. So we wanted to put it forth right there for y'all to know that what we have that they don't, and what we bring to the table that the other apps don't. So we bring about personalized customization, energy insights, and energy usage forecasting in real time, and carbon footprint tracking, community engagement, customer support, and educational resources. And the only thing that we lack is the market advantage, which I'm sure we will grab the market once we're out there. And okay, so what's fun without savings and what's savings without fun, right? So we want to make sure that we provide a very fun way of saving energy and making it all affordable. So that way, we're going to have in-app games, and the display of the app is going to be very visually appealing to everybody, that everybody can use it. And we're going to provide energy-saving tips to everybody, and every time they do something, they're going to unlock and go to the next level. So that way, we're going to give them rewards and stuff. And educational resources are going to be fun in terms of quizzes, invoices, and everything. And energy saving communities is something that we came up with. So we're going to put up like a workshop for the community that's right there. And then it's going to promote healthy competition, because if one house is going to save energy, then of course we can do it, right? And yeah.
Perfect. So now that we have got a good idea about this application that we have put forth, and you guys have got to know all our features, let's talk about the reality. How are we going to exactly process this app? So we are planning to have like a pilot run into a city which is maybe a youth city, and as per our target audience. And then we are, once we get feedbacks from them, we are trying to go into extensive testing and then launch the app in the Northern Californian region. Well, moving on, whenever an app is into the market, what's the next step? That's getting your customer feedback. How do you improve? It's sometimes innovation is best, but it's better when you start improving on it. So that's what we are going to do here. We are going to track the user engagement. We are going to test whether the ideas or the ideologies with which we kind of develop this app that you guys provided the support to, is it actually working in the market? Are consumers really benefiting from it? So we are going to track their cost savings. We're going to track how are they efficiently using energy at their home. We're also going to see how are they assessing the carbon footprint. So we're going to see whether are they using their appliances more than what they did last month? Is it going better? Are our rewards and rebates exactly helping them out in a way? Are we kind of promoting that behavior of energy conservation into the community? And lastly, well, as a company, you would definitely want to know what your brand perception is. You want to connect with your customer and you want your maximum customer satisfaction. That's where we think that we come into picture, that we are trying to rebuild the trust that is lost in these years with the customer. And this application would be a platform for you to kind of reconnect with your consumer. So, okay. So in order to wrap it up, I think we have hit a lot of points here, which goes from sustainability to energy affordability to consumer trust and to creating an eco-community. So our plan is not only to kind of help the consumer make energy affordable, but is also to put an idea into the future generations that it's very important to be sustainable. It's very important to conserve energy. And our application is taking a step wherein you're creating a sustainable future, not for just yourself, but also your kids and also your family moving forward. So this was Consumer Connect for you, and we're really grateful that you guys gave us the platform to kind of have an interaction with you and help us understand, make you understand our application and our ideas. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was very informative, and I like the idea. My question is, the $2 cost, why charge the consumer $2?
I could take that.
What, okay.
The biggest reason is there will be a lot of startup costs to create an application. A lot of the research we did, a lot of these companies started off with about $6 million to get something into market. And then on top of that, there's going to be an ingoing operation cost as well. We did talk a lot about it, of charging the customer, but the savings that they're going to get by not using power during those peak hours if they choose not to will also put a dent into PG&E's profits as well. So addressing the board of directors, we felt like there had to be incentivized financial aspect there. And from the research that we got from the consumer, it seemed like $2 was a fair, reasonable price that they're willing to pay if in return they could get a lower PG&E bill overall.
Right. Would that be $2 a month just for a short period of time, or would it be long-term?
So just like anything, I think it will have to do with scaling. So initially, people, I think, are very skeptical of allowing PG&E access to their controls. Kind of goes back to human behavior. A lot of us, me included, when it's about to be a blackout, I still run my air condition, and PG&E warns me not to, so there has to be incentivized there. So for them to just even let them have access to their thermostat, a lot of people don't do that. PG&E has a rebate program for that already. So we felt like as more people adopted the app and those numbers and it starts to scale and go up, and the stress on the grid goes down, that will in turn allow PG&E not to I don't want to say invest, but not to have to purchase so much out-of-state energy, which is extremely expensive for them. So with the idea of over time, if you could get max participation, then that fee could go down, or that subscription model could go
And
down.
what about like low-income families? Are there special programs for those who can't afford the $2 a month? The initial investment?
Yeah, so initially our target when we released it to the pilot program, we would be targeting more middle class due to the ecosystem that they have, more smart appliances, they have solar, they have they are able to do bidirectional charging, those functions that allow the stress to be relieved off the grid. But PG&E does have rebates already in place for low-income family, so I would anticipate that it probably wouldn't be hard to incorporate that into the $2 fee as well.
Okay. And then my last question was, how is the app going to connect to all the appliances in the house?
So right now, PG&E is behind the meter, so they have a smart meter. So they are able to access those things already somewhat, not as well as a whole ecosystem, but say if you could have a Nest at your house, you could put that in, it connects into the management system of the smart meter. So it would be behind the meter. It would have to be, the smart meter would probably, it's pretty outdated, so that would probably have to be upgraded as well to support the technology of everything, but that would be the concept behind it.
I see. Thank you.
I know this doesn't sound feasible, but there is a huge swath of the population that don't have iPhones. Believe it or not. I know that sounds crazy.
For sure.
Middle America, there's a lot of folks without high-speed internet. This is something that we don't, it's not really talked about a lot. Have you thought through, what are you going to do for the customers that don't have access to the app?
So I think that when they receive their energy bills, so the customer who get a physical copy of their energy bills, we are planning to promote like more rewards on the bills as well. So they can participate into community programs in order to get like a discount, I would say. Like I want to use that word. So on their next energy bill. So it's like, since we are not just like an application, we're also thinking about the society. We're kind of creating a presence. And when I say society, so when community programs come into picture, we kind of, so it's mouth of, like it's like, I know it, I'll tell somebody else, and then we can have like programs which can promote sustainability, which can promote like energy conservation. And that's the place where I think that is the area, I would say, that's how we can reach that customer base. Is on the ground.
Can you go back to your ethical slide, the ethics impacts or considerations?
Yeah.
Can you talk through the ethical dilemma again, just to make sure that I understand how we're thinking about the ethical dilemma of the current state?
So, to be blunt, I'm a PG&E customer as well, and there's a lot of bad taste in consumers' mouth right now. When it goes to the increase of 18% of our bill this year, and when it goes back to the decade-long unethical practices PG&E has done, there is literally no trust. So that is one thing we've talked about a lot, is consumers don't want to allow PG&E access to anything right now. They feel already at the short end of the stick, so they don't want them to have access to their thermostats. They don't want to do bidirectional charging. They don't want to use any of these rebates incentives that they've created. So bridging that gap is going to be extremely hard. So when it comes to these, I think the top corner, the transparency and accountability, is huge. And with the new CEO, Patty, coming into play, she's addressed this on multiple occasions, the lack of trust with consumers. So I think when it comes to the transparency and accountable, if they have real-time information of, I pull up my phone and I could see that my dryer took up this amount of, not kilowatts per hour, a lot of people don't understand that. My dryer to run cost me $10 to that load of laundry. Those are ways that consumers and human behavior, how they respond. And another way human behavior responds is through incentivizing. So if you say, you adopt our app, you allow us control of your thermostat, we will give you X amount of money back on your bill. I think those are ways that you have to incentivize. Until PG&E and the consumer are able to build that trust and to be on the same page, at least in the same ballpark, I think that the main part of this will be the ethical issues that consumers face when it comes to, and especially when you talk anything about AI and privacy, I think that they would have a very hard time of knowing that PG&E has their data, although they probably already do. But knowing that and knowing that they are in control of their appliances and stuff. So I think that through the messaging and the marketing, you could maybe bridge it to some. And that's another reason why we have identified the target market of middle income, because I believe that they have more information than a lot of those low area income areas that communities you're talking about, and they have the ability to really lower their bill. I feel like when it gets to the higher earnings, yeah, they might not be happy to pay their bill, but they do it. They probably look at it as a tax, right? For me to run my lights all day long, that's what I just have to pay. But I think if we really focus on that middle income, and as we start to scale and add more features into the application, I think we could start addressing a lot more needs. The biggest thing this application will do is it will design a direct communication to the consumer. And it might be hard to get off the ground, but I think that as time goes on and consumers could realize, I save money on my bill. Instead of paying $250 a month, I pay $100 a month, and that allows me to relieve stress on my finances. I think the word of mouth of, no, this is a great idea, you need to try this, I think it will get out, and before we know it, more people will start adapting to it and picking it up.
Thank you, teams. You guys have very nice presentation, very well. Actually, can you? I have a quick question. Can you move to the consumer analysis? I think the next page. When you talk about consumer survey, their willingness to pay. Oh yeah, yeah, this one. Oh, sorry. Maybe next one is like. Would they want to pay like $2 subscription fee for like $50 the saving? Can you justify how you estimate like how come this app can help the household to save like $50 in the electricity? I understand the major solution is like give consumers the insights, use less electricity in the peak era and use more in the valley era. But can you like dive deeper into a specific situation? I can give you one example. I think in my household, the most major like electricity, like minus for electricity is the heater and the refrigerator, right? How can I adjust that consumption? They basically have to run all the time. All the times has to be on, right? So in this case, even though I can smart like use less during a specific time, but how can I justify like a saving like $50 a month? That seems huge, right?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. That was a great question. And so regarding the $2 a month cost for the app, so we did conduct a survey and we did ask them how much would you be willing to pay. So we just gave them a range, and most of it fell between like $1 to $5, and then like when we took an average, it was $2, and that's how we came up with that. And when I say $50, so it's just approximately $50, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be more than that you're going to be saving with the usage of our app. And when we say that we're going to be providing personalized energy saving tips on and telling you all that this appliance is using up more energy and like switch it off and stuff. So what we mean by that is the fact that we as professionals know what a duck curve is, and we know for a fact that evenings between 4 to 6 is when the highest energy consumption is, and we charge a little bit of percentage more than when we charge for the rest of the day. So when we let the consumers know that, okay, probably preheat your house before you go there, and probably don't use your heater between 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And so those are the kind of insights that we'd be giving them, so that will help them save money in terms of that small percentage of price increase when you use it between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. And yeah, that's about it.
Also, I could add on to that as well. Also, all of our households, we have a lot of vampire appliances. So those are appliances like, think of your coffee maker, where you get your water, your fridge, although you have to keep that going 24 hours, your food goes bad. So that one you can't do much about. But you use your coffee maker in the morning, maybe in the afternoon, but it stays on all day long. You might not think about it because it's just out of sight, out of mind. And then you might think, oh, this is just a coffee maker. How much energy is it consuming? But when you go through a house and you have a lot of these vampire appliances going on, if you shut those off during especially peak time, when the price is about 115% more than non-peak time, through that you could save. Also, to get the $50, there would have to be more than just, oh, I don't want to run my air condition, but they have technology. With the increase of electric vehicles on the grid, it's going to add more stress to the grid. Well, they have great technology out there called bi-directional charging. So between 4 and 6, I could plug my Tesla into the charger, and I could give energy back to the grid. A lot of consumers don't know this. A lot of people with electric vehicles have no idea this happens. And PG&E actually incentivizes. They'll give money back if you do this. So just little things like that. We think a lot of energy consumption, it goes back to human behavior in society. We didn't want to spend too much time on it, but it goes back to the thinking is, it's 4 o'clock, I'm hot outside, and I don't want to turn my air condition down. The whole city might have a blackout, but I don't want to do it. It's the human factor behind it that we think through education and through incentivizing, through saving on your bill, it will start to educate these consumers, and it will allow them to make better decisions on their own.
Hi, I'm Valerie. I really enjoyed the presentation. It was very straightforward. I understood it as a consumer.
Thank you.
I have Southern California Edison, and in the last couple of years, we upgraded our air conditioners in the condo where I live, and my bill has doubled. So this is very personal for me. What percentage of your customers fall into the primary target audience? What is the total percentage of that group? Is your whole customer base that target audience? What percentage of your customers fit that target audience?
So, as per the survey, I believe we are okay. Okay. So, as per the survey, I believe 90% of our audience was in that target range, and so we could confidently tell you that that's the target customer that you should be looking forward to, because without a target customer, it's investment which won't make some sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to add up to that, as a whole, as PG&E customers, I think about 65 to 70% of the customers fall under this age limit. So yeah, so since that's the majority of the population that use PG&E and are as customers, we thought it would be better to start off with them as they know better and they use a lot of smartphones. So better start late than never. So.
Okay. My next question has to do with the legal aspect. I'm assuming that with the app, there's a contract, a customer contract. So I'm already contracted with you for my electricity. So now I have a contract for the app. How is that app going to protect, I'm sorry, your contract? What are the protections in the contract for me as a customer for the app?
So California has privacy laws around data and around application. So obviously, all of those will be implemented in the legal aspect. And on top of it, we wanted to give the consumer the right to shut on and off their functions on demand. So it's kind of like our thinking behind it is when you download something from iTunes and you say, Google Maps, and it says allow once, allow forever. It will be a function like that where you could continuously allow this to access it. When it comes to the bigger scope of like safety of data and stuff like that, we will rely on the California laws that are already in place to protect those tech companies out there.
And you mentioned that there's some background energy reports that you'll be running for measuring impact. Will the consumer have access to those reports for their household.
Yes, and that goes back to the transparency aspect. So there will be a baseline of what their energy consumption is, and every on demand, it would have an increase, decrease, where you could understand, and they will have access to that because, again, it goes back to the ethical issues that we brought up. There's a lack of transparency with PG&E. When you get the bill, if you get it, you just see a bunch of numbers on it with KWH, and unless you do your due diligence and look into it, you have no idea what that means. You look up at the top corner where it says how much you owe, and you normally just pay if it's not on auto pay. So the transparency aspect is key for this to happen.
So the other question, and addressing transparency, you mentioned that there will be some savings that would be reinvested for the benefit of the consumer. Can you talk a little bit more specifically and about what those things would be to be reinvested, and how would that be communicated to the consumer so that they know that the company is not just adding more profits, but that they're reinvesting to benefit the consumer?
Do you want me to take this?
Yeah, go.
So right now, when they did their increase to 18%, how they justified it is, well, we need to bury all these cable or all these power lines because it's starting fires in California. The trees, the brush is falling on it. Birds are landing on the transformers. So we need to bury all this. That's how they justified it. So instead of saying, oh, we need to raise your bill, I think the messaging is better of saying, you saved money and we're reinvesting it. So I believe that if you reinvest, one of the biggest issues when it comes to the lawsuits against PG&E is actually the lack of maintenance and inspections on their infrastructure. And that, when it comes down to all these legal cases, that's exactly what it came down to, is that they were lying on their audits, they were saying they were doing maintenance, and they weren't. So now they're trying to play catch up, and they're trying to fix all of this infrastructure that they own, and that's one way that PG&E has so much power over the utilities in California is they own the infrastructure. So I believe that by reinvesting the money into the areas of infrastructure, grid management, forest management, that will in return improve the infrastructure, which as a result, won't have as many wildfires due to transformers blowing up and so forth. So I believe that one of the keys is the reinvestment back into community when it comes to those areas.
Well, I see the benefit for me as a consumer in terms of what you were promoting, sustainability within my household. How is PG&E promoting sustainability and getting that message out?
They're not doing a great job at it. So we did a lot of comparison to SMUD, Sacramento's utility, and they're kind of at the forefront right now when it comes to sustainability and going away from nuclear and so forth. So right now, the energy mix-up, I want to say they get about 60% of their energy through renewables. The rest they get through other sources, and about 10% they get from coal plants, nuclear plants, and so forth. So I think that as they start to create this ecosystem, right? It's not just build windmills and solar plants. It's you have to create an ecosystem that's able to support the grid. And I think that that costs a lot of money and a lot of time, and it's it's really far out. I think their goal is 2035. It doesn't look like they're going to reach that goal. So I think that they have a lot of work to do in that area alone. But I think that if they could build back the trust with their consumers and save and relieve stress off the grid, it might give them more of a runway to get some of those projects off the ground and actually fix what they need to. Does that answer your question? I don't know if it did.
Well, I'm thinking of, the number you quoted of, in terms of the profit that they made. And so they have money to reinvest. And so you want me to be sustainable in my household, but I'm not seeing that as a consumer, that the investment that you're making, that you're promoting sustainability as part of your mission, as part, of the PG&E mission.
You're definitely teeing us up for tomorrow when it comes to the ethics section because, yeah, I agree with you. It's a hard one. We didn't want to get into politics too much, but it is very, they have a lot of power, a lot of control. So it's very, very hard. They lobby, they contribute a lot of money. It's pretty ironic to see how much they contribute and lobby during all these lawsuits. We're talking about millions and millions of dollars. But one thing we did discuss, and I don't know if it's off topic, is mayors in the cities of California, and especially Northern California, and the governor has came out and said that it is a very strong possibility that PG&E gets broken up. You pick electricity and gas, or they'll get another private company in here to control the utilities. So there is pressure on them, and I think that pressure provided by upset customers. I think that you'll see in about 10 years, if they don't make that difference, a big change in how utilities are purchased, how power is generated, and who's controlling that. And I think that it's imperative for PG&E. They have a lot of smart people in the executive offices, and I think they're very aware of this. They have a new CEO, whole new executive team, and whenever you hear any interview, these are the talking points they talk about, is that they need to reinvest into this stuff.
Thank you.
I think we're on to the feedback portion here. Over the overall.
I'm having a hard time with the $2 cost. I know it's not a lot. So you're asking me, and I can afford it. Okay, so I paid $2 a month to get the app for the potential of getting $50 off a month, or up to $50 a month. Then why not make it free and give me $48 off instead? And that way you still get your money that you need to create the app and maintain the app. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, I got the app for free, so I'm more likely to use it and tell my friends because it's free. And I think of the utilities, even though it's a private company, I think of it as a basic necessity. It's like water, gas, electricity. Those are basic necessities of being in a household. So, and I'm thinking of like how the lower income are going to view this. They're going to view this as, I don't want to spend money on anything. So they're less likely to sign up, even though you're right. They're going to save $50 later. But I think it would be, this is just from a marketing point of view, a marketing and communications point of view, offer it to them at no cost and then give them less of a discount. I think that I would prefer that as a consumer.
So
that's just something to think about.
I think I could answer that quickly.
Okay.
I know we're running out of time if you guys had a long day. I think framing had a lot to do with it. So since our audience today was the board of directors, it was really hard for us to say, okay, you got to cut profits. You're going to lose money because people aren't going to be spending money. You know, you're going to have to spend all this money on developing, on operation costs, all this stuff. And at the same time, you're not going to make any money on it. So we added that actually kind of late in the game because we were trying to find a way to come across as the board of directors. You're right, if we're selling it to the consumer, it's framing has a lot to do with it, right? It's easier to say you save $2 than you pay $2, regardless of what it is. So I think that was our thinking behind it, and we might have missed the mark a little bit.
And transparency was one of the main points that the CEO had also pointed out in order to rebuild consumer trust. So we wanted to be as transparent as possible with the consumer so that they know that we're doing good for them and not trying to loot money. So.
Also, just adding to it that we do have so the $2 fees for a premium version, as in wherein you get a chance to kind of connect the app with your devices and you want personalized suggestions regarding that. And we do have a base version, so that is more of educational version. So you get access to all the educational resources. You get access to our blogs where you read how each customer has saved money. Customer success stories are a part of it. So it's something that you want to, we have come halfway. Now you have to come half of the way and kind of understand, read about the success stories, get the application, see what educational resources are there. Are they sufficient for you? So as for the lower income groups, like if they're okay the good. If you want something more, you're really serious about, bringing down that bill of yours. So you could like go in for the premium version. So that's what is our
Right.
thought process
Actually, I like
behind
the
it.
idea of what
Yeah.
the streamers are doing with the ad-supported, it's free, like Pluto is free, it's ad-supported.
Yeah.
And then you get, if you want to pay a subscription, you get the premium with no ads. I personally like that idea. I mean, there's a cost to it. So if I go on, on a like a Pluto, which is ad-supported, it's free. But I now I have to watch the ads. So
Yeah.
there's, but they're making money off of the ads. So you're either, so the consumer either pays the subscription or watches the ads, but the companies are making money either way.
Thank you, that's great insight.
Yeah.
That is great
Thank
insight.
you.
Thank you.
I will add to that, AT&T has an app for their network, for their wireless, that you can monitor your devices that are on the network. It's free. And I think the data benefits that the company is getting would more than offset the $2 that,
We're really stuck on the two. You know what, and I don't mention it because I think that's how the consumer's gonna respond.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
They're gonna be stuck on it too. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, I was thinking about the AT&T app because it is free.
Yeah.
And it offers the similar services to a consumer and
For
the
sure.
amount of data that they're getting, because they, give me feedback.
Yeah.
So I know that they're using that data for business decisions. So it's a good trade-off, for
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the point I was trying to get at.
We
You're
just wanted to
getting- Getting something for the data.
Yep.
So,
We wanted to stress on the point that since y'all are the directors of PG&E, we wanted to put forth that we are providing profits while also trying to cut down the costs. So that was our main motive. Yeah.
Okay, just feedback. I thought the presentation flowed smoothly. It wasn't too long. It was actually, I think, the right length, which is hard for this type of competition. It was quantitative and qualitative, which is obviously great. Something that I missed from it is there wasn't a lot on carbon footprint and how this is going to impact from an IBESC, right? The S is sustainability. We didn't really get into a lot of, hey, if those numbers are true and we decreased by this kilowatt hour, what's the estimated impact that we're going to be doing for the environment from an emission standpoint? Something I didn't really, I didn't get a lot out of that, or a lot of that. But overall, nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Very, very nice presentation. And I do have several specific feedback. So would you please go to the legal session?
Yeah, for sure.
So I think this is a legal session is a very, very well designed slides, but I have a little bit of concern about the overall fit into the presentation. Your presentation actually proposed an app facing to the consumers, bring them the transparency and clarity of their electricity consumption. However, here your legal dimension emphasizes more about the safety of the company. Therefore, I would suggest this one is good, very nice, and also may add a little bit on the legal dimension, talking about the consumer's rights. I have the right to receive very clear and correct bill.
For sure.
Right,
Yeah.
those kind of things that will fit the general flow of the presentation better. Clarity, transparency versus safety here. This is number one. Number two, when we talk about the business dimension, finance dimension, I totally understand you are presenting to the high executives from the electricity company. That's why you want to justify our app will pay on its
providing
own.
profits.
But I sincerely don't think the $2 is gonna work. It's not a big amount of money, but it's taxing. I won't use it if you let me pay $2 because it's my data and you let me pay to help me to save. Isn't give me a signal as a consumer that you don't want me to save because you charge me. Why don't you just give me free? But you can argue it this way, since you already established very well, their word of mouth is really bad. Consumers does not trust them. Therefore, why they have this app? This app pay off when you earn the trust from the consumers. So from the consumer relationship management perspective, this app pays back way more than the $2. Okay. On the other hand, can you actually then if you go to the features sections.
Sorry?
Features, the app, the features. You have a long list of the features of the app. Yeah, later sections, the features. Yeah, this one, I think you guys did a nice job to summarize those features. But to be honest, it's a little bit overwhelming when you have a list of more than 7 items. Someone psychologist said, if you have more than 7 items, nobody's gonna memorize them. So here is the one way I can suggest to you, you can consider, that is categorizing those features.
For sure.
Especially organize them, visualize them, basically. You can, for instance, several features about monitoring, or you can use a different, more acceptable word, transparency. Okay, transparency feature, this bunch, including monitoring, real-time monitoring history. Another one, several features about customization or personalization. Okay, that's second bundle of the features. And the third bundle is about engagement or the social interaction, those kind of things. Therefore, instead of using a long list, you use the 3 bundles. That is clear and add more structure to your presentation.
Yeah.
And then actually, build on that, I have some suggestions about the features that you guys can consider in the app. So for me, actually, I started my bills. It's painful to pay it, but after I started it myself, I find that I cannot do much of it. As I said, for me, it's a refrigerator and a heater, and it's pretty old ones. I still rent, so I cannot change them. But what I can do basically is just nothing. So I know that if I use more electricity in the night, I will saving, but still, I cannot do much. Therefore, I think you can add some other interactions. Like for me, information part of that app is not so beneficial for me. I already know all the tips. But another way I can think is that build on from the first bunch, transparency, know the information, and like educational and personalization. And next one, you have games, right? Then you can have a fourth bundle of the benefits, which is engagement.
Yeah.
Therefore, you can think about add some social interaction into it. Like you can challenge your neighbors, you can challenge your best friends. Like I challenge you next week, next month, I gonna save 5% of the total energy. Can you beat me? If I win, yeah, if you win, I get $2 credit, right? Something add those social interactions that might be more beneficial, like for users like me. I know I cannot change too much of my consumption already.
Yeah.
But if you give me some interaction, challenge my neighbors, or I can share like, I have been reducing my electricity consumption 5 months in a row. I can share it on social media. I can challenge my classmates, friends. So that's going to be very, very cool.
For sure.
And also, build on that. Sorry. Build on that, you can add some social norms there. So a research shows that when they try to save the energy in the hotel, especially laundry in the hotel is a big part of the consumption of the energy. So they have some like small card says that, let's say, 50% of previous guests living in this room will recycle their towels. And actually, that's going to motivate more recycling of the tower. So you can basically create a function, the data is available, just telling them you are using, let's say, less energy, more than 90% of the neighbors in this community. So add those functions, add a social element into it.
Yeah, if I can take some time and explain. So that was kind of what was the intention behind energy saving communities. I think when I was presenting, I did go into it, but not very deep because of the 25-minute timer.
Yeah.
So but the energy saving communities is the baseline of all of that. We were trying to promote like healthy competitions between neighbors and friends. So if your neighbor can do it, obviously you can, right? So that was the main intention behind that. So yeah.
Very good. And I have one last piece, sorry, taking too long. If you can go back to the page with your target audience, front page, previous page of the target audience, their profile.
Yeah.
So for me, actually, I'm thinking about why you're looking at the middle and low income. For me, high income people consume way more energy on average. They have way more potential to save energy than low income ones, right? Why you focus on that middle low income? Why don't you focus on those really like affluent consumers?
Because we think that, so it's like in order to save some energy, you should have that conscious for saving energy, or you should be a little, it should be like, okay, yeah, affordable and price conscious. So that factor came into picture. So if I know that I am a low income person, so I'll always be thinking, how many dollars am I saving? Okay, is that burning a hole in my pocket? So that mindset is what we were targeting. So definitely this goes for the upper class, and it goes for educating everybody rather in the future to kind of have the application and conserve more energy. But we were just trying to help and build the gap with this income group, so that because we think they are the most affected ones
Okay.
when
We
it comes
feel like
to.
it's harder to incentivize
Yeah.
the higher income
Yeah.
earners. I feel like it's harder, you have to give more of a saving for them to do it. So that was the thinking.
I understand that for the high income ones, it's just hard to incentivize them financially, but
Yeah.
you can incentivize them through warm glow. I'm saving the world, right? So,
Yeah.
I agree. I think there's affluent families who would, while they could totally afford it, they don't really afford it themselves or everyone, but they are socially conscious. And more so, I'm thinking of celebrities because that's what we know.
Yeah.
Need, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That they're very much interested in environmental issues, sustainability, and they would totally, be interested in doing whatever they can to promote this.
Just real quick, I know it's just a feedback, not a Q&A, but just real quick, are they just more willing to buy carbon offsets so the perception looks like they care? They still fly their private jets,
Yeah.
they love their waterfalls, so.
I just don't, maybe there's something that it obviously requires a little more research, but it would be interesting to see what kind of, what your research would find, or maybe you're right, maybe they wouldn't be incentivized to.
Yeah.
To do this, or at the very least, they would help market it and promote it and get some publicity.
It's definitely something to look into.
Yeah.
Thank you, we definitely.
Thank you.
actually, I do have one piece of.
For sure. Go ahead.
I
Bring
don't
it
want to
on.
dominate the conversation, but I suggest you guys may like downplay this like a primary target audience a little bit, because again, everyone need to save. Everyone need to think about save the energy. But I see the value of market segmentation. You always need to segment the market and offer customize the solution. So in this case, I can summarize the different type of solutions from your presentation. You have a lot of good stuff there. So for instance, when you think about the customers, you think about, I suggest you segment the solutions rather than segment the consumers. What does that mean? So you offered a very nice example that how to save money, how to save the energy. That is, you pre-warm or pre-cold your room in the valley
Yeah.
time and
Yeah.
then use it in the peak. So what is this solution? This is seasonal solution.
Yeah.
Right? Our app can provide you seasonal solution. In summer, how you're gonna use your energy. In the winter, how you're gonna use it. So seasonal. And the build on seasonal is easily connect to regional. If you live in the coastal line, or if you live in the inside the valley area or the desert area, so the regional and the seasonal is already one or two. And also you can think about the lifestyle. You offered a nice example of coffee drinkers, right? Coffee makers. So build on different people's lifestyle. You have customized suggestions for them. Build on lifestyle, you can think about household structure. Young professionals who have two jobs at the family and they basically not home in the daytime and they come back at the evening and at night. How are they gonna save the money, save the energy versus a household like with retired seniors, right? So household structure is another way to customize the solution. And also, household structure, lifestyle, regional, seasonal, or maybe you can build on some demographical solutions. So in this case, you segmentation there rather than segmentation people.
Okay. I like that market segmentation idea. We're definitely working on that one. Thank you. Yeah. No, we loved it. Yeah, much needed.
I'm actually kind of curious to see what appliances actually do
Yeah.
use more, and we don't have a dryer inside our units. We own condos, so the washer and dryers are shared in the community.
Yeah.
Downstairs in the garage. But the dryer would be an obvious one, how much would it, and it would totally change what they do.
Yeah.
Totally, if I knew which appliance it was. And also the other way around, sometimes, we change our light bulbs so that they're more energy
Yeah.
efficient. I
Yeah.
constantly turn off the lights all the time, and I'm like, they're energy efficient light bulbs. And so the opposite could happen too. It's like, oh, it's not costing me as much as I thought. I'm having to go turn off the lights every 5 minutes, every time someone leaves the room for just 5 minutes,
Yeah.
But they're coming right back.
Yeah.
But I would sign up.
Whoa.
Thank you.
Thank you for
That
the
means a
support.
lot, because if we were able to
Yeah, we'll work on that.
yeah, so that was our main motive. If we were able to convince half of y'all, our job is half done, right? So
That's the marketing aspect.
yeah.
We need to focus on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just wanted to say I appreciate the simplicity of the presentation, the slides themselves, because I was able to get a complete overview when you went to each slide. I would, as he was talking about on this slide, the 90-10%, I think just putting that in there to let me know what percentage that this covered would really help me to see the impact of the slide. I appreciate that each one of you answered questions thoroughly and completely. I really like the story that you started with, because I was like this when you started talking, and you kept me all the way till the end. The pacing was very well and very personable. It was like having a conversation more than you presenting, and I think that probably encouraged us to talk more than when we overtime here. So you did that. You did that. through your
Thank you. That means a
presentation.
lot. Thank
Okay.
you.
The fact that we had so much to talk about was
Yeah.
we were all engaged in the topic.
Yeah.
Now, not giving you feedback, but now we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
We learned a lot, so.
Yeah. And all of it were constructive, so we're very thankful. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day, y'all.
Have a good.